Eric Abo from SENNEO Designs. Today we are going to be looking at all the tools of Photoshop from the first.
Shut up and take my money.
A lot of talking. Let's get into Photoshop.
Okay, let's go to Photoshop. Let's go to File, New. We'll create a new document. We'll call it Tool Explanation. Tool Explanation. We'll take any file size. I will go for 1000 by 1000 pixels. Doesn't really matter. Anything you put will actually do the job for this course. So this is Photoshop. Don't be scared, don't shout, don't cry. On your left is where we are interested. On your left we have our toolbar. On top of it we have our menu, and on your right we have our layers panel, where we have our layers and everything that affects our layers. So this is our live window or our preview window or our monitor or our screen. So here is where we are going to be seeing all the things we do. So assuming you are a carpenter, these are your tools that you are going to use with these materials and every other important material you're going to use, using this as your finishing material to get your final output. So let's go straight to our tools. So if you hover over the tools as you have them on the toolbar, you will realize that you will see some writings describing what each tool does. So the first of it is our move tool. The move tool, if you right click, you will see that you have a move tool and an artboard tool. A move tool, as the name implies, simply helps in moving objects. For example, I unlock this layer, I can easily move the background from one place to another. So that is the help of the move tool. So you can use it to move photos, you can use it to move text, you can use it to move anything. So the move tool is simply to move objects from one place to the other. And under the move tool we have our artboard tool. Our artboard tool is what we use in making artboards, as the name implies. You can use it to create new artboards, you can use it to resize artboards, you can use it to do anything. So create, resizes, multiple canvas. You see, you use it to create multiple canvas. So that is our artboard tool. So you can add an artboard tool by just clicking on the plus, it goes up. On the plus, it goes to your right. On the plus, it goes to your right. On the plus, it goes to your right again. On the plus, it goes under. On the plus, it goes to your left. So you can use the artboard tool to make your way out of any place. So the artboard tool is used to create multiple canvas. So you see that on this our monitor now, we have over almost about 8 canvas. So that is the work of the artboard tool. In Illustrator, if you are a user of Illustrator, you will be familiar with the artboards. So the artboards are used in creating multiple canvas. That's the use of the artboard tool. So if you want to do a lot of things using different papers, because this is a paper, so you can just see this as a paper or a board where you draw and place stuffs to get a particular results. So you can use this artboard tool to get many of those papers. You get many of the papers. So under the artboard tool, we have the next one after the first family. We have the next one, which is the marquee family. So under this family, if you hover, you right click, you will see the rectangular marquee tool. You have the elliptical marquee tool. You have the single row marquee tool and the single column marquee tool. So as you see, these marquee tools are used in making a selection in a particular shape. For example, it might be in the shape of a rectangle or an ellipse or a line that is both vertical and horizontal. So for example, let me import a picture from my machine. into Photoshop and we'll see how this applies. So if we go to my computer, go to the local disk C, let's go to backgrounds. Under background, I look splash. Okay, assuming I want to just carry anything, so it's not anything it's nothing of importance, so I just make it big for your visualization sake. I'll just make it a little bit large. So let me bring it to the screen. So you see that this is a living room with chairs, and assuming we want to delete a particular portion or want to make a particular selection, for example, I want to select something or an area that is rectangular in shape. For example, I might take my marquee, the rectangular marquee tool, and I will just draw over like so, and this particular portion is selected. So now, for example, I can select that portion if I don't want, or I can do whatsoever I want with that particular portion. I can paint with my brush. For example, I can take the brush, I'll paint, and you realize that the only place that is painted is where we have the selection. So let me go back to my normal paintbrush. You see that I've painted with my foreground color, and it feels just that area that has been selected. So that is the work of the marquee tools. So whether it is rectangular or ellipse or single color marquee tool is just the same thing. So but the difference now is just the shapes produced from the drawings. So now we have an ellipse. So the exact same thing that happened with the rectangle is the same thing that happens with the ellipse. So you see, so with the marquee tool you make specified selections following the shape of what you're doing. Under it we have another set of tools. We call them the lassos, the lasso family. So under this we have the normal lasso tool. The normal lasso tool, you use it to make freehand selections. As you move with your hand, you just take left click with your mouse, or you press with your pen and draw around without using your hand until bam, you see it makes the selection for you. So it is a free-handed selection tool. So you use it to get free hand drawings. That is what the lasso tool does. So under the lasso tool we have the polygonal lasso tool. The polygonal lasso tool is a tool, or it's a lasso tool that is used to make straight edged selections. So for example, I want to get a straight edge selection. I will go with this polygonal lasso tool and get something like so. So for example, let's assume that I wanted to select this portion of the chair. I'll take my polygonal lasso tool, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I come back to the starting 5. So you see that I've selected this portion. I can decide now what I want to do with this portion. For example, I can just delete that portion and I put something, maybe a carpet or whatsoever might feel good for me, and that is how you can use the polygonal lasso tool to get straight line selection at the edge. So under the polygonal lasso tool we have the magnetic lasso tool. Okay, the magnetic lasso tool is a lasso tool that is used to snap the edge of objects. So you use it to make selections that will snap the edges of objects. So just look, for example, as I draw through this stuff, it snaps to the edges and just takes the shape of what it feels the object is like. You see, as I move towards the edge, it snaps. So that is it. It makes a selection. So that is how the magnetic lasso tool works. So you use it to snap objects. So you can use it to snap around this ellipse or this circle. and that is it. So you can use it to snap throughout the edges of this chair. So make sure your pointer is a little bit outside your wanted selection. So that is how it will go and go and go and go, and come back to the point where the cursor turns from this stroke to a small, oh, where did we start? Okay, that is it. So you see that we make the selection. So that is how the magnetic lasso tool works. So if I undo all of them, I'll go to the next one, is our normal selection tools, our go-to selection tools. So the first of it is the object selection tool. This one I think is found only from Photoshop 2020 to 2021. So the object selection tools, you just draw around or around an area where you think an object is selected, and Adobe SENNEO, Photoshop's artificial intelligence, will struggle to get a selection for you. So for example, I'll just draw around this chair, and Adobe SENNEO will just imagine that that's what I wanted to get, and it will do a selection for me for that area. So object selection tool, use it to draw around objects to make a selection. So if you draw around this stuff like so, you see that it makes a selection of what it feels, depending on the pixels and the color of that particular area. Under the object selection tool, have the quick selection tool. The quick selection tool is one of my most used tools because you use it to select areas, as the name implies, quickly. So you make selections of areas like so, just get it, and that is how you can make selection of almost anything you want. So quickly you are going to get to make very wonderful selections. And then under the quick selection tool, we have the magic wand tool. The magic wand tool is used to make selection in areas where colors are similar. So if you use the magic wand tool and you select something, it will select for areas that have similar color variations. So you see, if I touch, for example, this chair with the magic wand tool, it will select areas of this image that are similar to the color of the chair that is selected. So it works with colors. You see, it works with colors. So you can use it now to make the selection of a particular color and do whatsoever you want with it. So that is the magic wand tool. Under the magic wand tool, we have the next one. We have the crop tool. The crop tool is simply a tool that is used to resize or reshape images, that is your image or your canvas. So for example, when you select the first one under this, you have the crop tool. You select the crop tool, you can crop to resize this particular image, you see, or you can do whatsoever you want with the crop tool. Under it now, the next one will have the perspective crop tool. Perspective crop tool is rearranging a distorted object, is rearranging a distorted object in perspective, understand, or arranging an object that was distorted in perspective. So for example, I can just draw like so, and then maybe I wanted, maybe the perspective of my image is slightly wrong. I can take it now, and it will struggle to resize this object in perspective to what I have selected. Are you seeing? So it gives me a particular perspective. Normally the house was like so, but now it has given me a different perspective of how I should see the house. So before, after, before, after, you understand? So that is how you can use the perspective crop tool to crop an image in perspective. Okay, under it we have the slice tools. The slice tools are what we use to demarcate an object for web purposes. You use it to divide objects for web purposes. So for this class, or in most cases, unless you are a web designer, you hardly have use for this. If you are just a photographer or you are just learning, you are just into Photoshop, you hardly have use for this particular tool. So it is used to demarcate an object for web purposes. So under this one, we have the frame tool. The frame tool came just from Photoshop 2020. You use it to get a frame. You see that I have made a frame of this particular object. So you make a frame. So the frame tool is used to get a frame. So you put a frame around. So you can go now to the properties of the frame. Let's go to this. Go to the frame. Go to the properties of the frame. You can decide how you want the frame. So you can add a stroke to the frame, a stroke of this color, and we come back. We'll add the size of the stroke. So you see that we can get a stroke like so. You see how you can make a frame, something like this. If you like it, you can use it, but I've not even for once used it, because I really actually don't see the use for it for what I do. So you can change how the frame
fly just like a rocket then. Okay. Fly so high where I need to come down for oxygen. Hey. Cause once we started, baby, ain't no stopping then. Hey. Cause I just wanna live my life and party. Hey. All I want is to be free and rock my body. Okay.
Enough with the party. Let's get back to work.
The next tool we have our eyedropper tool. This is the eyedropper tool. So the eyedropper tool samples colors from an image. So you can use it to sample colors. So just look, for example, our foreground color that we have here. See, as I sample here, you notice it will sample the color of this table. If I come, for example, I sample somewhere here beside this door, in between this door, you see that this color is a color that is closer to white. But if I sample, you realize that the color will not be white, or will not be what we are saying, because the sampling is done in a 100 by 1 sample scale. So for example, if I change the sample size, if I go for a point sample, for example, see that if I sample now, look at our foreground color, it will just be exactly the point at which I sample. So you can use it to sample colors and to get the RGB values for a sample area or a sample range, as it might be the case. So you can use it to get the range of sampling for your particular need. So you use the eyedropper tool to sample colors in an image or an object. And the next one, we have our 3D material tool. This 3D material tool is used to load materials. You see, materials in 3D are what we call colors in normal 2 dimension. So in 3D, we don't say colors, we say materials. You understand? So we load materials to objects. For example, you can create a 3D object or a 3D model, and then you load a material on the object that will be like the color of the object. So the material is what you use for color in the 2 dimension. So the material is used for 3 dimension, the colors is used for 2 dimension. Don't worry. As we'll be going further, you understand. Then now the color sample tool. This one just simply gives you the RGB mode of any sample area. So for example, this one, let me just close this. So for example, if I sample anything anywhere, you see a small dialog box will appear on my right hand side. So you see this thing, it shows you the red, the green, the blue of a particular place you've just sampled. So if I hover with my mouse, you see that, you see how it moves also. You see how it moves. So you see that the RGB value changes for all the different areas that my cursor walks to. You understand? So this color sampler tool is what we use to sample colors to get the RGB mode. So for example, you might want a particular color in an image and you don't actually know the RGB value. You just take this color sampler tool and you get the exact RGB value of that particular color, and then use for whatever purpose you want. So that is it. The next one is the ruler. the ruler is used to measure distances in an image. So you use it to measure a distance in an image. So for example, if I draw the ruler like so, you see that it will give me an X value or Y value of that particular distance. It gives me the width and the height of that particular distance in that particular image. So you can use it, especially if you're an architect. You know, Photoshop is used by so many different categories of people. I am not an architect, so naturally in most cases I hardly use this particular tool of Photoshop, but it is very, very handy for one thing or the other if in case the need arise. So you use the ruler tool simply to measure distances from one point of an image to the other. Okay, the next one will have notes. So this one is just simply a tool that helps you to add notes to an image. So if you want a note included in a particular section of the image, let me not lie, I have never used this tool. So for example, once you click, you can write something like love this guy. So you keep it somewhere in your dictionary, and that particular note has been kept. So if you come now, you can either include it or hide it. So note, you just simply take notes for a particular object, and that is just it. As I said earlier, I've never used this particular tool for any reason. So the next one is our count tool. The count tool is used to count the number of objects in your image. So you use the count tool to count the number of objects in your image. So the number of objects that you have in your image can be counted by or with the help of the count tool. So for example, I can just take my cursor, I start counting, for example 1 by just clicking. You see that the part is small. You see, let me zoom in so that you see that there's a small one somewhere here. If I touch here also 2, you see that there's a particular 2. Let me change the color. The color is not really that visible. Which color can I use? Let me just take red, not good because the background is red. It won't work. Let me use let's go for yellow. Okay, or let me try the green. So I think green is better, but I just don't see what I just did. I take 3. You see that there's a small tree somewhere here, and that is how you can count the number of objects until you get your desired results. So that is the use of the count tool. So we'll be going to the next section, a section that is very, very sweet. I love these tools, or this group of tools. This group of tools are my go-into tools, especially when I want to do my special effects in Photoshop. I use these tools a lot. So the next group I think under this one, everything is finished. So the count tool is the last. Go to the next group, which is my loving tools, or the tools I love most. These are the tools I love most. I love these tools the most. So let's go to the first of the list is our spot healing brush. Spot healing brush. Don't be scared, don't cry, just don't worry. It's okay. I know you are behaving just exactly the way I was behaving when I started with Photoshop. It wasn't really easy for me, but I am glad that everything has been, or everything is the way it is today. So the next one, we have our spot healing brush. Let's import an image from my computer. Let me go to where I have my images. I'll go to backgrounds. I'll take splash. I'll look for an image. So you see the magic of that tool. Just watch the magic of that tool. That tool is a must-use tool in Photoshop. A must-use tool. So let's just bring this one inside. Let's bring this guy in. Okay. Oh, so it came in as a smart object. Can I just remove it from a big smart object. Okay, so assuming you want to remove the glasses from the sofa, or I don't know if the sofa was on a table, but let's assume you want to remove the glasses from the sofa. What can we do? Simply, we have this first tool, we call it the spot healing brush. The spot healing brush is a magic tool. Just see what happens as I draw over where we have the glasses, and just like magic, I'm gradually removing the glasses. Just a few clicks. Wow, this is magic. This is magic. This is magic. This is magic. So I can reduce the size of my brush. Just watch. Just watch. Just watch. Just watch. Oh my god. Wow. 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 Whew. So the spot healing brush is used to remove blemishes or distortions in an image. So you use them to remove blemishes or distortions from an image. Just see how glorious that tool is. Just simple, the glasses and no more. This is outrageously wonderful. So the spot healing brush is used to remove blemishes. We remove blemishes with the spot healing brush. So you can take your time to make sure that the details are kept by cleaning the spots. So you take your time so that even if somebody struggles to understand what happened here, the person will not be able to get any green light. So under the spot healing brush, we have our healing brush. Question: what is the difference between the spot healing brush and the healing brush? The spot healing brush removes blemishes or distortions in an image. So the healing brush, on the other hand, we use it to repair imperfections using pixels from another part of the image. We use it to repair imperfection using pixels from another part of the image. We use it to repair imperfection using pixels from another part of the image. So let's assume that we had get back to our glasses. For some reason this guy is not just undoing. Let me see. Undo. Control Z. Okay, let's bring back. We had gone far. Let's bring back the glasses. I think I've done up to the limit. So assuming we wanted to use the healing brush instead of the spot healing brush to remove the glasses. So we say we use it to repair imperfections, that is using pixels from a part of the image to another part of an image. So for example, I wanted to remove these glasses without using the spot healing brush but the healing brush. So I want to make sure that I will use pixels from this portion of the image to repair these imperfections that are in this portion of the image. So what do? I'll just simply press my Alt key. I sample the area by left clicking, or with a pen you click here and then you just go. I'll change my brush to be a soft brush because my brush is a little bit hard brush, so I'll use a soft brush in this case. So I'll take a good size soft brush. I would like a soft brush. I'll sample. So every time you want to sample, you hold your Alt key. So you sample until you get your desired results. So I think the softness is just too much for me. I want to go faster, so I'll just take. Okay. So you see that with the healing brush, the work is a little bit tedious, but sometimes to get best results, we have to spend some time on what we are doing to get the best results. You understand? So it's just a matter of patience until you get everything you are looking for. So that is just how we go about it until we get the results. So every one of these tools is best for a particular situation. So when you want to, for example, take care of the skin or remove blemishes from a portion of an image, I think the go-to or the most used to is the healing brush. So don't bother. For example, now it's like, oh my god, it's just as slow as the speed of a tortoise. But don't bother. It's easy. Just see, for example, see what I'm doing. Just see. You see how I'm taking pixels from that portion of the image to remove the imperfections in this area, and I will do it until I'm satisfied. So the difference between the healing brush and the spot healing brush is that with the healing brush you sample to correct, but with the spot healing brush you swipe over for Adobe Sensei to do its thing, because Adobe Sensei is the artificial intelligence that is involved in doing the work. So it imagines what is around that environment, samples the colors, and struggles to give you a think of what it feels is supposed to be there. So that is the difference between the two. So with the other one you are manual, the other one you are automatic. Okay, so manual is healing brush, automatic is the spot healing brush. Manual healing brush, automatic spot healing brush. Healing brush, we sample pixels to correct imperfections. With the spot healing brush, use it to correct blemishes. I hope it's clear. So that is how the two, that's the difference between the two. So the next, which is the patch tool. The patch tool is a beauty to behold. So you can use the patch tool in different ways. You can use the patch tool, for example, now just you can see how this environment is black where you have the glasses, using the healing brush. So you can patch that area just by, we might cut this area, for example, and then we carry to an environment whereby we want to make familiar, and that is how you see that there is a change that's already happening. So you remove like so, and that is it. You see, that's how you work with the patch tool. So with the patch tool, as the name implies, you use, it is a recto verso situation. So you can use it to sample an area and replicate it in another area, or you can use it to carry the samples of another area and bring to a particular area. I know you are a little bit confused with what I'm saying. So for example, what am I saying? So if you look up here on your menus bar, you have source, you have destination. So what is it saying? So you see this selected portion, it says that if you use this patch tool to carry this selected portion, it will take the view of where you are to the source. So the source is where the selection has been made. So if we carry it, for example, if I carry this portion to this book, you will see that it will snap the portion of this book and bring to the source. Are you seeing? And then it struggles to blend. But if I, on the other hand, change it from source to destination, I'll carry this source to the destination that I'm going to. The destination. Are you seeing how it has covered those beautiful stripes on the book, those black stripes on the book? So under normal circumstances, it works in both ways. It works in both ways. So you use the patch tool to correct, but either from a source perspective or or destination perspective. So you can use all of them in different ways. Under the patch tool, we have our content aware move tool. The content aware move tool is very instrumental in Photoshop, especially when you want to remove things from one position of an image to the other position without actually deleting the stuffs, or without actually leaving a hole or a trace of what you just did. You understand? So let's take another image. For example, we'll just hide this image for now and go back to our system and look for an image that might best explain what I am talking about. Okay. So let's just bring in this very bad image of very low resolution. Okay, let me take this one. I think I'll just use it for now. This one. Okay, let's use this one. It's not a good image, but I'll just use it to illustrate what I want you to understand. So I will just open the image so that it will be big on the monitor, so that you'll see what I'm talking about. So I will rasterize. When you rasterize, it means you are permitting the image to be edited. So when it's rasterized, it means it's editable. So content aware move to, what I want to do now is I want to remove this coconut tree from here like so, and maybe plant it beside the speaker one without actually leaving a trace or a hole in this portion. So what I will simply do is I will just draw around the coconut tree. See, like so. I'll draw around this tree. I'll draw like so. I'll draw. Please don't mind my drawing, but anyways, it's just for explanation purposes. So I'll carry and bring just beside the coconut, this other tree, and press my enter key. You see, magic. You see what just happened? The coconut tree that was here has been completely removed from here, from point A to point B, without allowing a trace. So you can use now any of these other brushes like the spot healing brush, and then you just brush over this portion and that will be done. So you see that the coconut tree is nowhere traceable. If you were not here when I started, you would not believe that the coconut tree was not made in this position. So that is the use of the content aware move tool. It removes an object from one portion of an image to the other, and then struggles to replace the source with pixels that are around the surrounding of the source. So it struggles to replace the source with pixels that are around the image or around the surrounding of the source. The source is where where the tree was planted originally, and then the destination now is where you've kept the tree. So when you remove the tree to this position, it struggles to fill or replace that tree with pixels or colors around the environment from which the tree was originally. So that's one of the ways through which you can use the content aware move tool. So next under it we'll have our red eye tool. Red eye tool is a very wonderful tool. You can use the red eye tool if you are working especially with cameras that have effects caused by red eye. So it fixes the red eye effect caused by a camera flash. So for example, when you take cameras, especially you take a photo, especially in the night, sometimes you see some kind of eyes that are red. So you use the red eye tool to correct that kind of an effect. So you use the red eye tool to fix the red eye effect caused by a camera flash. You use the red eye tool to fix the red eye effect caused by a camera flash. So that is it for those tools. The next under is the brush tool. The brush tool is, I think, is my most used tool in Photoshop. I use the brush in doing everything. I mean, like everything. I use the brush as an eraser, I use the brush as a brush, I use the brush in almost everything. So the brush tool is, as the name implies, a brush. So if I go back to my default colors, I can put my foreground color black. I can use it to brush or paint. So you can use it to paint something. That is one of the uses of the brush tool. If I use it now with a layer mask, I will use it now as an eraser. You see that the same brush. Sorry, go back. So we needed to have created a new layer. So create a new layer and brush like so. So on this layer now, if I use a mask, the same brush that was used as a paint now is I use it as an eraser. So you see that the brush that was a paint brush now is used as an eraser. So the brush tool is a very, very important tool in Photoshop. Thanks to Photoshop for this tool. I'm very, very, very happy that the brush tool exists. I will not spend much of the time explaining the brush tool. There's a video that is coming up that I will explain everything about the brush tool that you need to know. So under the brush tool, the next one have our pencil. Our pencil tool is very, very also handy. You can use it to draw. You can use it to, let's just increase the size of the pencil just some fair bits. So let's see. Oh, let's draw on the new stuff. So you see. So let me go back. Reduce the size of the pencil so you can use it to draw. You see. Let me try to get my signature. Let me see. So with the pencil, we use to write or draw or do whatsoever thing that pleases you. So for example, I'm not an artist. I'm not a man that has time for drawings and all of those stuff, but the pencil can be used as long as you see the need. So you can use it to make designs, you can use it to make some cool stuff with your commercials and all of those kind of stuff. So that's just the pencil tool for you, as the name is, the pencil is used to draw. So the next one is our color replacement tool. So the color replacement tool is a very, 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 very nice tool, very, very important tool. So with the color replacement tool, we have the possibilities to paint a selected color over an existing color. Paint the selected color over an existing color. Paint the selected color over an existing color. So let's try. We get maybe red here, for example, and we struggle to see how. You see, so the color that is behind is the blue. So you see that as we started with the blue, it will struggle to paint just on the blue, and the white color that was up will still be there. That's the clouds. You see that we can use this color replacement to replace the color of the sky with another color now. So you see how this is changing the color of the sky, but the clouds are still white, but the color of the skies that were blue have been removed completely to give us this beautiful view. I love this. This one is the zombie revenge. If you are in this kind of environment where everything is red like this, you just have to know that you are in danger. Okay, so you see how beautiful it has become with this red. So you use the color replacement tool to replace an existing color that is in your work. So that is how the color replacement tool works. So the next one is another favorite of mine, the mixer brush. So the mixer brush is used to do a lot of stuff. We use it, as the name implies, it's not just a, you can use it as a brush, you can use it to mix. So for example, I will just paint with red. Just see, are you saying? I'll paint with red. I'll change the color from red now to, let's just take this dark blue, and then I'll paint here with blue. Just see, as I paint with this blue towards the red, you'll notice something, that the colors between the red and the blue will start mixing. Are you getting? Are you seeing something? So if I just mix the two of them, you see that I can get some cool stuff like so. Just see something. Yeah. So I can paint again with red, and the process continues, you see. So before you know it, as you paint, before the end of the day, you come with kind of cool color that will be impossible to get it just by sampling. Just look at something. Okay, I'll take my, I'll start painting a little blue. So you see, just look at how beautiful it is. I'll snap again with my, you hold your Alt key and then you click, you snap now. Are you seeing something? So that is the mixer brush. So you can use it to do artwork, especially when you are doing paintings. You can use it to paint, especially on a human's being. You know, the texture of a being, of a human, is not just having a particular direct color. So you can use it to paint and do a lot of arts with it. So there are so many different options to change the wet, the hard mix, but I will not explain that for now, but I'm just giving you an overview of what the mixer brush does. So the mixer brush does mixing. So that is the mixer brush. So I'll explain in more details in the left classes what the mixer brush does. The next one is the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool is just like those other tools that we had up there. So it's just like the healing brush, but the difference between the clone stamp tool and the healing brush is that the clone stamp tool clones. So it paints with pixels from another part of an image. So you can just snap, let's just say we snap where this tree is, and we can just paint it somewhere here like so. Okay, we are not on the image, let's take from the image. So a paint, yeah, are you seeing? You see, that is the clone stamp tool. So you can just snap the top of the tree, just like so, and you paint the whole tree. Are you seeing? Are you seeing? Wow. Say wow. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I love this. This is beautiful. Just see how we painted that same image in this other direction. So with the clone stamp tool, we just use it to clone or to paint with pixels from another part of your image. So that is just it. Then this other one, the pattern stamp tool, simply pattern stamps on an image. So we use patterns to stamp on an image. So for example, if I increase the size of my brush, are you saying I will pattern stamp on my image? Why? Because the pattern I have on my background is this leaf and this tree. So let me remove it and struggle to see if I can get another pattern. So you can create your own patterns. So we change the pattern. Are you seeing? We can pattern stamp another pattern in this our image, and like just like so, you see that this our image should be completely transfigured. So another stuff, I see. So we have pattern stamped this our image with our pattern. So the image was, this is before, this is after. You see, that is what the pattern stamp does. So it stamps or clones your image or paints your image with a particular pattern that has been selected. So that is the pattern stamp tool. So the history brushes now are the next. The history brush is just a brush that will carry your document back to its original form. That's the original very first thing that was in your document. And in our case, the very first thing was white. So you see, it will bring back everything to white because that was our history. So it's that we are back where we started. So the history brush carries you to a previous state that existed as you started. So it restores parts of an image to an earlier state. So that is the history brush. The art brush, for the other one under is the art brush. The art brush paints stylized strikes. It paints stylized strokes with pixels from an earlier state. Stylized strokes with pixels from an earlier state. So for example, okay, let's reduce our brush and we'll try a style. We'll look for tight curl. Are you saying? You see, this is it. Let me just press once. Are you saying? Are you saying? This is it. So we can remove and change the style. So we call it stylized strokes. So you see, you can make something like lightning. That is just how it works. So that is just all about it. The next one is the erasers. Erasers simply erase, so it just removes completely from an existing image. So you can remove any part you want by simply erasing it from this image. So you remove it completely. So when you erase, goes. So the eraser erases. So you can use the soft brush for the eraser, you can use the hard brush depending on what you want and the flow and everything to make sure it works. I will explain these ones detailedly when I explain each tool now. So now I'm just rushing because of the time. And the other one under the eraser tool is our background removing or background eraser. With the background eraser, you can use it in so many ways depending on the result you want. So for example, it is set now to sampling once and discontiguous. So this one simply means if I sample a particular color and don't remove my hand from my mouse button, I can remove that color throughout all the image without affecting the other colors. So what am I simply saying? So for example, if I sample this portion like so and I draw, you see that I will erase that particular color from every part of the image without affecting the other colors. So any other color that is not that color will not be affected. Are you seeing? So we have successfully erased that particular color from the image. So that was the bad sampling. Let's see if I can take a lighter one. So as I start again, I've removed the sky that was in that place. So but you get the idea. So for example, you might want to remove blemishes from the hair of a person. Maybe you've done some selection and maybe there's a complication whereby maybe the hairs are just disturbing. You can sample that particular color around the hair area and then you remove it from the hair. You understand? So that is how the background eraser works. So under that, the last one is the magic eraser tool. The magic eraser simply removes a bunch of particular color from an image. So it simply removes, if you sample that particular color, I see that color that is focused according to Adobe SENNEO, it will struggle to imagine and remove what it feels is not necessary. So that is, as the name it's magical. So it does the magic for you. You just sit and watch. You just sit and watch. Just watch and see how you remove the sky and the seas, and so you can increase how good or bad you want it by increasing the tolerance. If I increase the tolerance to 100, it will be very, very bad. It will remove even the tree. See? Are you seeing? So that's how good. So you can reduce the tolerance about 10 to get better results. You should not exceed 15. 15 I think is the best tolerance for the magic eraser tool. So you can use it to magically erase portions of an object. So normally mine is always set to 10. The next one is the gradient tool. The gradient tool is a tool that you use to get a particular gradient on a layer. So for example, I create a new layer, I can choose a particular gradient. Okay, I'll choose, for example, this gradient, and then I'll just put it over whatsoever stuff I want and start doing my magic. So you see, so with the gradient tool, you use it to put, you can do these tweakings and tweak and tweak and tweak until you are satisfied. I say you can tweak it until you're satisfied. I say the diamond, and that is how you can use the gradient tool. So you can use whatever gradient you want. So you come here, also you can change the colors. If you don't like this particular one, or you just want 2 of them, you can just drag this one and remove just by dragging and removing, and you use the tool. You can change that this one to again red, and this one you change it to yellow. So come down to yellow, and you have a red and yellow gradient like so. You see how sweet and orangey this one looks. So that is how the gradient tool can be used. So there is also going to be a class for the gradient tool. So for now, we'll just allow it at that point. The next one is the paint bucket tool. This one just paints your image with a particular color, that's the color that's in your foreground. So you can use it to paint, as you see. You use it to paint and use the foreground color. So whatsoever color you have on your foreground is what you are going to use to do the painting, as you see. So you realize one thing, the difference between the first one and this one. When I used the paint on this particular gradient field layer, you realize that it's not just paint everything at once. Why? Because there are different color sprites. So the paint brush tool works in accordance to the color sprites that are available in your image. So if, for example, you have a unique color like white or blue, it will just give you one color. So if you have different color sprites within your image, it gives you a color differentiation or a paint differentiation to match your color stripes. So for example, if I change now this one to blue like so, you see that I can have something like this, and I get something like this, you see. So you can have color differentiation, and just imagine you wanted to do this kind of a thing with your hand. It's just going to be impossible. It will not just work, and that is how you can get some beautiful effects like so. And this is the paint bucket tool. And the last one is our 3D material drop tool. This drops material that are loaded into a particular 3D object. So you can carry, or if you are on a 3D workspace, you have materials that come with the installed software, whether it's Dimension or it's Photoshop, because Photoshop also has 3D. So you can load a paint of a particular material on a particular material. So if you have a material or an object that you have built, or a 3D object that has been built, you can use your paint, your 3D materials, to paint on them with this our 3D material drop tool. So it drops materials loaded in the tool onto the target area of a 3D object. So you simply drop the material onto a 3D object. So that is just how it works. So I told you earlier, I said painting in Photoshop or in 2D is what we call putting on material in 3D. So painting in 2D is material in 3D. So when you go to 3D, you will not hear something like, you will not hear I want to paint, you hear I want to apply a material. So you apply materials to 3D objects, you paint 2D objects. you apply material to 3D objects, you paint 2D objects. Okay, and the next set is the blur, the sharpen, and the smudge tool. The blur is just simply what we use to hide. So as the name implies, it's used to hide stuffs. So you can use it to hide stuffs. So for example, you have done a particular selection. Let's look for an image and see what we can do with that image. So let's take this lady and bring her into Photoshop. So let's just do a fast selection and allow Photoshop to do it for us. And just anyway, don't mind the selection for now. So you see, as I told you earlier, you can use the background eraser now, and you rasterize this first. You can use the background eraser and remove this stuff from her hair. Are you seeing? So without actually deleting the strands of her hair, you can use it to remove those blue stuffs around the hair area. So to get a cleaner job, you can zoom in. You can zoom in and you sample like so. So that you can remove all of this blue stuff. So we sample some portions of the hair. So that is the idea. And now we can go back to our blur tool. So as we've done this our selection, to blur we can remove. Blurring simply means making something or taking it out of focus. So we can take these areas out of focus so that somebody will not notice. Are you saying? You see that these edges will be out of focus. So somebody, if you see it, you will not focus on these portions. I'm just using it on a rougher scale, but actually you can do it more nice, you can do it nicer than what I'm saying. So you just take these portions out of focus. So you can take it out of focus. So you understand. So with the blur tool, you can take it out of focus. So are you seeing? So that is how the blur tool is. The next one is the sharpen tool. So the sharpen tool sharpens images. So if you look at this girl's face, let's zoom into her face. Let's go back. So if I sharpen, just look at it. You see how immaculate her body texture will be now. Are you seeing? Are you seeing how? But careful not to overdo before you create a monster out of a baby. So it's just, so it sharpens an image, but everything that you overdo spoils. So just simply touch, tap. I'm not good at makeups, so for ladies, you have to pardon me for now, okay? I'm just managing when it comes to makeup. So you see that this is it. So you can sharpen an image. And then this other one, blur, the smudge tool. The smudge tool is a liquify tool. It's a tool that you use to adjust portions of an image. So for example, maybe I want to shape these cheekbones, or I want to just increase the size. So the bigger the size of the brush, the better. So you see, it's a liquifying tool. So you use it to move stuffs up and down, and you will see how you're gonna get some very bad, weird stuffs. Oh, so you can imagine you wanted to get something like this. It's bad, right? So this is the Horn of Africa. So so the smudge is a liquify tool that is used to adjust or soften or smudges color in an image. It smudges colors in an image. It smudges colors in an image. So we use it to smudge colors in an image. So as I said, you can smudge like so. So you can just bring the job. So when you're working with it, you have to be very careful not to overdo before you bring a monster part of the person. Then the next group or the next category, we have the dodge and the burn. The dodge and burn. So with the dodge and burn, it is very, very, very simple. Dodge brightens, portions of an area, while burn darkens. So dodge brightens, burn darkens. Dodge brightens or lightens. So as I put on this girl's face, take note, you see how I'm adding some light, as you see. Good. So I also told you the other time that everything you do too much becomes a problem. So this is can take your makeup class to another level in Photoshop. So you see how good or very bad a makeup artist I might look or I might be. So this is the bad job I've just done. So just you can use it professionally to get wonderful results. So burn, on the other hand, is just darkens. The burn darkens. So take note. You see how it darkens the face of this lady. And then the other one is our sponge tool. The sponge tool changes the color saturation of areas in an image. It changes the color saturation of areas in an image. So in an area whereby the colors are saturated, you can use a sponge tool to desaturate them or to change their colors. So if we use the sponge tool, we're going to see what this guy says. Are you saying it doesn't darken nor brightens, it sponges. You see, it changes the color saturation, but be careful not to overdo. So this one is just like somebody who had an accident and lost the melanin of the left face. So if you lost the melanin of the left portion of your face, that's how your face will look like. So please, I'm sorry, it's just a joke. So that's what I intend to pass. So the sponge tool is used to correct or to desaturate or to change the color of a saturated area. So saturation is brightness or how much of a particular color you have. Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. So the color itself can be red, then saturation is how red that color is. Good, how red the color is. So when the red is too red, you can desaturate it with the sponge tool. So the sponge tool removes the saturation or it reduces the saturation. The next one is our pen tool. The pen tool is the magic of the day. The pen tool is used to pen out stuffs. Use the pen tool in selection, use the pen tool in drawing, use the pen tool in tracing. It's my most used tool, especially with Illustrator. I use it to trace, I use it to draw, I use it to make logos. So use the pen tool to do all kinds of sweet stuff. So you see, I can just draw. Let me go back. I can just draw some good stuff with this lady's hair. Okay. So you see how I can just get to go about it. So that is how you can use the pen tool. So we see, let's go back. So okay, so it's just roll for now, but you can use it to do a perfect job. So you can do tracing, you can trace all of this lady's body right from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet. So that's how the pen tool works. So use it to draw, use it to trace, use it to do all kinds of stuff. So what's the pen tool? The pen tool makes and changes parts or shapes with anchor points and handles. So you use what they call anchor points to do whatsoever thing you'll be doing. So for example, if you come back here to this shape, you see that this stuffs from this point to this point. These are called anchor points, and these are the handles that makes the shape of whatsoever you want. So these are the handles. So you can use the handle. You can use the handle to do anything. You see. So you see. So you use the handle to maneuver your way inside your work. So you use the pen tool to do what? To make and change parts or shapes with anchor points and handles. So that is it. Under the pen to have the free form pen tool. The free form pen tool is still the pen tool, but it's the one that you just go with your hand, like when we're using our lasso tool. So you just pin and it gives you a shape. You see, just draw and come back to the starting, it gives you a shape. So if you are steady with your hand and you know how to draw very well, you can just stick with your stuff like so, and you would get to go through that. Naturally, I will not lie, that will be very difficult. That will be very, very difficult. So that is it. The next one I think is the curvature tool, the curvature pen tool, or the curvature tool. The curvature tool is the pen tool that came just recently. It's very easy to use and it came to handle some of the difficulties of the pen tool. So let's see, for example, with the curvature tool, for example, if you want to go straight, you will take once and take twice, you have a straight line. But if you don't double click, for example, let's take once, you will see that as I go around, it gives me a curve. Are you seeing? So if you want a straight line, you double click, you have a straight line. If you want a curve, you click once. So that is how it works. Are you seeing? So if I click once, 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 and once, you see that I will have already something like this. This one is a weird stuff. So let's go back. So for example, I want to draw a circle. I click once. A circle has 4 anchor points. 2. I'll take 3. I'll go 4 and 5. You see that I have a circle. So you can use the curvature tool to draw a circle or an ellipse. You can use it to draw anything you want, and that is it. So the curvature tool is the pen tool that is an easy version of the pen tool, but you use it, it makes and changes parts just like a pen tool using points. So straight line twice, you click twice, curves once, straight line twice, curves once. So that's how the curvature tool works. And if you want to remove an anchor point or you want to add an anchor point, so you just simply come to the add anchor point to add and delete anchor point to delete. So this convert point tool simply gives you the luxury. When you go to any anchor point, it gives you a luxury to play with that anchor point, you see. So normally there were no handles. If you use the convert tool, it gives you the luxury to take on a handle to play with this your ellipse or the circle to get whatsoever thing you want. So you see that you made it. This one can be like an amoeba. So that is just simply it. The next one is the type tool. The type tool This is the first under the type tool, is a horizontal type tool. So horizontal simply means from left to right. So from left to right. So let's just take, for example, our type love is a beautiful thing. Love is a beautiful thing. Don't get it twisted. You see, that is how it works. So you can get some cool results like shows. So that's how we type horizontally. Then vertically, the next one is the vertical. So it's from the North Pole to South Pole. So you might type the goat is still eating the grass. So the goat is still eating the grass vertically. So from the north to the south. The other one was from left to right. So that is how they work. Then the other one, I think, the vertical mask tool. So this one I'll take the horizontal mask tool. So this one you can mask out the portion of an image with a typography. So let me show you what I mean. So for example, if I type on this image, I'll type, let's just take our color to be G_X. So let me just type in the boy. So when I press OK, so if I remove this stuff, is that the boy will stick. So you see how we have successfully masked out the boy from here. I'll put it somewhere here like so, or anywhere you like. So I press Ctrl D. Is that we have successfully done a masking. So masking is simply, so if I bring a black background, just simply by creating a new layer and filling this new layer with black. So if I press Ctrl backspace and fill it with black, you see that this was a transparent stuff. So if I remove the black, which is white, I put it back. So you see that we have successfully masked our holes using the typography, the boy. So that's how you can get some cool effects like that from an image, whether vertically or horizontally. So here we have our path selection tool, our direct selection tool. So path selection tool is for paths, direct selection tool is for normal selection. So if you want to do, for example, let's go back to our pen tool, or let's just draw an ellipse, or let's go back to our pen tool. Pen tool will be better because we just use the pen tool. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This thing, I don't know the name. So if I take my direct selection tool, I can move these points. Let's see, you see something? You see how I can remove this stuff and make some tweaks to get maybe something like this. Okay, so that is the help of the direct selection tool. So you use it to adjust the anchor points or to make changes to the anchor points. You see that this one now doesn't actually resemble what we started with. So that is how you can get the stuff. So with the path is the exact same thing. So when you use your pen tool, you can either make a shape. So the direct selection tool works for shape, the path selection tool works for paths. Direct selection tool for shapes, path selection tool for paths. Okay, moving on to the next tool. The next tool is our shape tools. So we have shape tools. You right click, you're going to see the first of which we have the rectangular tool. The rectangular tool is simply used to draw rectangles. So if I zoom in to my screen, let me zoom into my screen so that you see, and let me shut off all of this, guys. Shut them off. We don't want to see them so that we'll see clearly. So we'll take the first shape. We draw shapes in the form of rectangles, you see here. So you can draw any kind of rectangle or square or whatsoever is the one that you want. So your move tool is your go-to tool, it's your safety tool. It's a tool, so you see me going front and back the move tool always, because it is a tool that makes you comfortable to move around in Adobe Photoshop. So to have our move tool to move the shape, so we can use our rectangle tool to do any kind of stuff. So you see that our rectangle has 4 anchor points. So you see it has 4 anchor points. If we use our direct selection tool, for example, we can come to any of the rectangles and move one of the corners to get something like this. You see how great it's going to look like. So we have now something that resembles a triangle from a rectangle. So that is the use of this direct selection tool. Use it to get individual points and segments of a shape. So under the rectangle tool, I will not explain much about the tools because there's going to be a class for that. Under the rectangle tool, we have the rounded rectangle tool. So the difference between this one and the first one is that this one has sharp edges and the second one has smooth, rounded, professional edges. So with the first one, we have rough edges. With the second one, we have rounded edges, but they are similarly in function. So everything that works for the rough edges works for the round edges. So the rounded rectangle is that tool that you use to get results like so. So you can control how round or how sharp the edge of the rectangle is by simply coming to your properties. If you don't have properties here, you can come to Windows, you go to properties, you see your properties, or you go to window, you put back properties, for example. So I have my properties here, and the one I locked it here, you can put it anywhere if you wish. So you can carry the properties and keep it somewhere here like so, and you can do whatever you want with it and keep it somewhere here like this. Any way you want is up to you. So if I open the properties, I can carry that. I lock it down here like this. So let me keep it here. So I can change the roundness of this particular rectangles. You see that normally here it is locked to 10 pixels uniformly. So if I change it to maybe 25 pixels, so you see that all the edges are now 25 pixels. So if you look at the before with the 10 pixels, you look at the after, you see that there's a great difference before, after. So you can change it for one corner also by simply unlinking this link that links all the corners. So I can take, for example, I say that this one will go in with 75 while others remain with 50. So you can have something like this. So with a rounded rectangle, it helps you get some smooth softness around the edges of the rectangle. The next tool is we go to the next tool. The next tool is our ellipse tool. The ellipse tool simply gives us circles or ellipse. You can use to draw circles or ellipse of any sort, any form, in the form of an egg, in the form of a football, in the form of any ellipse or circle. So you can use it. So the exact same thing that works for any tool works for all the shapes. So all the shapes have similar property attachment. So we have similar affiliations when it comes to the property. So one thing, the thing that works for one works for all. You can add strokes to the edges of the ellipse or rectangle by simply just adding a stroke color and increasing the size of the stroke to see how good or how bad your work is. So you see, you can get some kind of stuff like so. And then next we have the polygonal tool. The polygonal tool simply gives you the luxury to get a shape that has any amount of side that you want. For example, if you click once with the left mouse, you click once like this, it will give you a pop-up box like this. This dialog box now will let you to decide how many sides of the polygon you want. For example, if I wanted a 10-sided polygon with smooth corners, I can choose smooth corners or a star. A 10-sided polygon that is a star, or 10-sided polygon that is smooth. But for this our case, I'll just let it like that. I will not take the smooth or the star. So for example, if I take 10 corners, you see something like this. If we go again now, we'll take the same 10 with smooth corners. You see a different thing. This one is just like a circle. We come again, we take 10. In this other situation, I will not take at first, we take the star. You see that you have something like this. Or you can take, for example, if you want a triangle, you can take 3 sides, because the triangle is a polygon with 3 sides. You see that we're going to have something like this kind of a thing. You see, that's what we're going to have. Or you can choose how you want it to be, and it will just work the way you want it. So if you remove it, because the star was still there, I have a 3-sided star. If you untick the star, you have a direct rectangle, a direct triangle, sorry. So this one was a triangular star. It's a triangular star, and this one is a normal triangle. These ones are ellipse of different shapes and sizes. So that's how you can get different polygons. And the other one under below it is a line. If you want a line, for example, you want to draw a line, you just simply remove the fill, because a line doesn't have a fill. So leaving the fill or removing the fill doesn't make any difference. And you can choose how the line will be shaped, and you can choose the different. Let me draw back. You see, this kind of a line is very bad. Oh my god, this one is just too much. I'll take 1,000. Okay, I'll take 20. You see, that is how you can determine the thickness of the line, and the weight will go for 10. So every time you're working, make sure you select the object that you want to make a change. And let's go to 30. And here also put 30. So that will have something like this, something cool like this. So you see, that is how you can get a line as big as or as small as you want. So you see, as you drag, you see how the width and the height changes as you drag. So that's how you can get a line. So under that one now is just the easiest of all, which are the custom shapes. So if you click that one, nothing will happen, but you can start getting custom shapes according to the previous custom shape that you previously used. With the custom shapes, we have seen for the ellipse, the rectangle, the polygons. So let's delete all of these things. So the last under the shapes, we have our custom shapes. So custom shapes, you have them here. You can, depending on the version of Photoshop you have different things that are here. Here I have trees, wild animals, I have goats, boats, flowers. So it all depends on what you had initially. So let's just pick, for example, an elephant. I'll select an elephant. So any size you draw will take the color, the foreground color. So I will draw an elephant, and the fill will be that of my foreground color. Oh, sorry. Let's go back to the shapes. Let's change the color to this, or this, or this. So you see that is how you maneuver your way through the different color swatches in your computer. So that is how you get custom shapes. So you can also add your own custom shapes that you've made and save them in your computer. That one I will explain later. So the next tool, we have our hand tool. Hand tool is simply the tool that you use to move over your work, especially when your screen is big. So you can use it to move from one portion of your image to the other, especially when you're working with a zoomed in image. So you can use it to move with your hand. So we saw me here using it, even though there are shortcuts, but I'll not start by taking the shortcut. So the shortcut to hand tool is H, or you can just hold your zoom and scroll with your mouse wheel, and you have something like that. The next is your rotate tool. Your rotate tool simply rotates your canvas to a desired direction. It rotates your canvas to a desired direction. So the rotate tool rotates your canvas. So something like this. That is how the rotate tool works. So if you hold your shift key, you rotate in 45 degrees. So lastly, we have our zoom tool. Our zoom tool is used to magnify or minimize our image. That's zooming in or out of an image to get the best view on any possible location, or simply just holding your Alt and clicking. So once your zoom tool has been selected, you just simply click with your mouse, left click, or just left click to make it large, or you hold your Alt key and left click to make it small. So that is all about the tools. And a bonus tip for today is this last small icon that is here is also a tool, but it is a tool that I hardly see people use, but it is very important, especially when you're making selections. So let's import an image to see how that tool works. Let's import an image to see how the tool works. We'll go to where I have images in my computer. I will go for the backgrounds, the splash. I'll go to models. So you can download all of these images on Unsplash. So you can go to Unsplash and see all of these images. That's where they came from. They are free, relatively free images. So let's just bring in this beautiful model into our work. So let's get her. Okay. So let's take our rotate tool. You will see that our image was badly positioned. So let's just do a quick selection, very fast selection. So let's just do a very fast selection to select our model. So let's select this image of our right hand. So let's move this guy. Yes, delete this guy. Delete this guy. Delete this guy. So please don't look at the selection for now. I'm just roughly selecting the work. So I'll select this guy also. I'll select this guy. And this guy. And I will take the layer mask for this. Okay, so if we zoom closely, you will still see some red portions of the wall that is spilling on our model. So the easiest way to do it is to use this particular tool down here. Is you use it to edit in a quick mask mode. So it's an on-screen editing tool. Just for example, still selecting like this, we'll go and choose this guy. So these red portions are the portions that are selected. So we'll just come now with our brush. We'll use our foreground color to hide these pixels. So we'll paint with red to hide. Paint with red to hide to our brush. Paint with black brush, sorry. So that everything that is not selected will be red in color, and the ones that are selected will be the normal skin color of the model. So I think that should do for now. Let's just toggle back and arrange these imperfections around the skin, and also from some of this beautiful hair. Some of these have beautiful hair. Like this. Okay, so you see that we have done some very pretty hot selection. So as we exit this mode, you realize that the selection now will follow what we had in the quick edit mask mode. So this is a quicker way of getting perfect selections. So you see that this tool is very, very good. So it has helped us in getting accurate solutions. Before we had some red stuff around this portion. So now we can just take our brush with our mask and fine tune these imperfections around our hand and something like this, even the hair. Just fine tune it with our brush, and that is how we can get some pretty cool results. This kind of illustration is a little bit complicated, but if you spend some time, you're going to get the best result.
If you've made it this far, thank you for being there. Thank you for supporting our channel.